Robert Hadden, former Columbia University gynecologist. Hundreds of new sex abuse is faced with allegations, show subtitle caption Dr. New York gynecologist Robert Hadden, who has been convicted of sex smuggling for decades, was sentenced by a federal jury of women who were most vulnerable. Earlier this year, an old Columbia University gynecologist, who was sentenced to 20 years in prison for harassing his patients for decades, doubles the number of victims claiming in his sexual exploited court. More than 300 former patients made new sexual abuse against the former Obgyn Robert Hadden, who was condemned to a rude sexual harassment of a large number of patients in January at the New York State Supreme Court this week. Columbia University Irving Medical Center and New York Presbyterian Hospital reached $236 million in 2021 and 2022 with 231 other rolled victims. 64-year-old Hadden did not work as a doctor because he lost his medical license 10 years ago. The new case represents a major increase in the number of victims against the Hadden New York governor, in accordance with the so-called reclaiming window signed by Kathy Hochul. Adult survivors law. The victims of sexual abuse in New York have been waived since November 2022. Hoping to sue against abusers. Robert Hadden, former Columbia gynecologist, who is convicted sexual harassment of dozens patients, is sentenced to 20 years in prison. Melissa Ho Chestetter, a vocal defender of vocal about the abuse of Hadden, said that he and other former patients do their best to make sure that others know about closing window. I know that this number is higher in my heart, USA said to the USA. The lawyer of the victims, Columbia, is trying to consume the watch. In September 2020, prosecutors revealed an indictment accusing half a dozen federal sexual abuse of dozens of female patients dating back to the 90s. Hadden used his position as a medical doctor in a leading university. Earlier this year, Hadden was convicted of encouraging 4 victims go to their offices sexual harassment at the criminal court. Charges dating back to the 90s. Former New York gynecologist was accused of serial sexual assaults for patients for the opening day when Shafak wrote history as the first female university president. We have a special message. For last 11 years, my office has been doing everything possible, revealed the cover of Columbia for last 11 years. Does not allow him to get rid of it, and is not sure that it has never come anyone again, he said. Columbia spokesman USA Today directed to a statement from new president of the university Minosh Shafak and Katrina Armstrong, CEO of Medical Center. They apologized. As the new leaders in Columbia, we are committed to doing everything possible to ensure the safety and prosperity of all members of our community, including our patients, he wrote.